How's it going, guys? This is episode 4 of Demon's Lootbox. I'm Demon. Obviously, we still have our co-host, the God Mouse, over here.
Hello.
Still don't have a guest this week, but that's all right. We got a couple that potentially got lined up for next week. We'll see how that goes. This week has been kind of low on topics, man. Like there just wasn't really anything that happened for the most part that I seen. I know that Mouse doesn't have as many topics as he normally does, so I'm going to start it off this week. I actually just ran into this before we started recording. So Sony has come up with a new idea for making multiplayer games more fair.
I guess I haven't heard this.
So let me see. Let me get to it real quick. Essentially, what they're wanting to do is implement a new balancing system. I'm just going to read from this. Sony's new balancing system for multiplayer games, according to a new patent filed at the USPTO. Sony already has tech, not sure implementing in how many games already or getting ready to be implemented in upcoming games like Marathon, that checks if the difference between player A and player B's performance is within an acceptable range, called a threshold band. What is an acceptable range? Who knows? The band is based on each player's global skill level. So it's not just about the current match, but their general ability. So however a highly skilled player comes up against someone with a low global skill level, the latter may receive hidden advantages to balance the fight. The adjustment could mean auto aim assistance, bullet spread changes, damage output tweaks. The patent doesn't say exactly how, but the goal is to level the playing field. So basically, the concept of may the best player win kind of takes a shit. I really hate this because it's
This is a fresh new hell that I wasn't even aware that this was being worked on or talked about.
I literally just saw that right before we started, and I was like, "Oh no, this is a horrible idea."
Man.
This is literally skill-based matchmaking, and it's fucking horrible. It is.
This
trash.
is so much worse.
It's worse than that, yeah, because you're essentially giving players that are lower skill hacks. That's essentially what I'm hearing.
This right here is exactly the justification that all the toxic players back in the, 10, 15, 20 years ago, they're all saying, I would have won, but blah, 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 the game's cheating for you, or, you know, like that kind of stuff. Or a lot of times, even nowadays, people playing Magic, like Magic Arena and stuff. Oh, it's the shuffler's rigged. They rigged the shuffler so I'd have a bad game. And
well, so see, and that's the thing. And then there's the worry of, okay,
like
Sony
in this case,
does
it literally is happening, I guess.
Yeah, it legitimately is. And the thing is that, like, how do you implement... How do you determine what changes to make to even the balance for individual players? You know what I mean? Because like,
oh man, yeah. What do you do?
Like
they gave some examples. You could change like bullet spreads and accuracy and damage.
But even still, it's like, okay, so you're playing against a player that's somewhat better than you, and then you give the player who has less skill all of the advantages because for some reason they rank lower in the global skill, whether that be because they're more casual, so they're not really trying, and then you put them up against somebody who's at a competitive level. Does that mean that you give them all of those changes? And at what point
I wonder if this is like pro smurfing kind of thing. They're encouraging people to keep low records.
I mean, maybe, but at the same time, it's like you're ruining. So like, I'm not the kind of person that does competitive gaming, but you are completely ruining that. Like, that shit's out the window. Like, there's no longer going to be able to be a competitive scene if you do that. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
So,
and once again, maybe they're saying that this is just going to be in like the free play or quick play or something like that. But man,
it would have
this
to
is
be
like in ranked and something, then they've literally just knocked out their game's a joke.
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
they've removed any chance that their game would be played competitively.
yeah, I mean, and I'm not like I just seen that and my jaw was just hit the floor. That's what I was reading before you
Oh
came
man.
back, and I was like, oh my god, like
Oof.
that is horrible. I mean, that would. I mean, I guess that if you're playing in quick play, maybe, but even still, it's like if you're playing quick play, chances are you're just playing casually. Like, you don't really give a shit about the skill ceiling. You know what I mean? Like, people aren't out there really tryharding in a quick play game. I mean, there's some of them that are, but it's like, who cares? It's non-ranked. It literally has nothing to do with the game. And then you have games like Call of Duty that already have skill-based matchmaking. So I don't know. I know that like the Call of Duty fans, they have everybody hates skill-based matchmaking because it's so unreliable, and the reason why it's so unreliable is because you can get stuck in this limbo hell where you're in between absolutely slamming a team and then absolutely getting wrecked by another team next match because it doesn't know where to place you. You're kind of in that in between tier where
Yeah.
where you're good at the game, but you're definitely not competitive. So like you're going to obviously beat the shit out of people who are just sitting there, get home from a long day's work. They just want to lay back on their couch and play a game. But you're also going to get the shit kicked out of you if you go into a game where people sit here and they play for 8 hours a day every single day. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it's like,
Yeah. You know, I mean, once again, yeah. uh, I really, this is like Orwellian, you know, and I know it's not like that bad in regards to like, you know, I mean, I don't know. Wow. That's just kind of very unfortunate, especially like this is Bungie we're talking about. The
mm-hmm.
people that gave us the original Halo, like, wow, what a.
Well, and the thing
I
is
mean,
that
maybe it's
there's
not the same people, I know,
well,
but once again, it's the
but
same company at
here's the
least.
thing is that there's a fucking there's a pro league for like Halo Infinite. Like that is a real thing. And
Ah,
if you
I'm
implement
not
that
saying
in
it's
there,
not.
then I mean that takes away that for sure. Like that's
I
just
mean, once
not
again, I mean, I've heard actually pretty good things about Halo, but Halo Infinite. But once again, I'm just incapable of giving it the try that
yeah.
maybe it deserves. But
Yeah,
I'm
see,
just
I won't.
I'm not there anymore.
I've never really been a Halo fan, but I'm just
Oh,
saying,
I
like, if
was.
you implement that into like Halo Infinite, that does legitimately have a pro scene. There are pro teams that play that game professionally.
Right.
Then you kind of ruin that because I mean, it sounds like it could be something very small. Like there could be
Well,
a very small skill gap that would
Halo
do that.
Infinite is 343. Halo Infinite is 343. Bungie's they went off and branched
Oh,
off and
did
did
they?
yeah, they branched off, or no, Bungie left. Bungie, honestly, I'm not 100% sure of the specifics of the deal, but Microsoft wound up with Bungie or with Halo, and Bungie stayed around to build Halo and play it, you know, and create it for them, and they did all the way through Reach, and then
Hmm.
during Reach, they passed off during the after they've released everything that they'd planned to, handed it off to 343 and said, "Here you guys go. You guys are the inheritors, basically." That's why they did the name 343. But
Okay, no, that makes
they're like
sense.
you're the inheritors of Halo. But there was what was always called the Halo Bible, right? This is what they would give out to certain studios or people who were looking to take and I don't know, expand upon it. You know, like Halo Wars, right? That was Ensemble Studios and stuff. They didn't actually uh there wasn't actually Bungie doing that, and so they still were creating a game within the Halo universe, and so Bungie handed out maybe not all of it, of course, but enough to be relevant for the game they were creating within the Halo universe, and they would do that to these other studios and teams that were working on Halo, and
Right.
so when Bungie left, they handed off. I remember reading something about it at the time. Handed off the Halo Bible, you know, this big document that said what was Bungie's ideas for all of the future to help make it all make sense with the story that was already established through Reach. And so
Yeah.
they handed it to 343, and then 343 went and said for Halo 4, "Nah, we don't want to do that." And I metaphorically threw it in the trash. I'm sure it's still kicking around somewhere there at 343 Studios,
Right.
but they haven't adhered to it. And this is something that's been very well proven, that they just haven't done any of the things that Bungie had already kind of set up. They kind of set all these pins up to be knocked down later down, and 343 was just like, no, we want Master Chief back.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that.
They kind of did what BioWare's doing with Shepard.
But either way, I mean, my problem comes in where, say Sony does this, and then other companies, for whatever fucking reason, are like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, and then they implement that into their games, and it's one of those shit rolls downhill type situations where,
yeah,
I mean, for the people that do really enjoy competitive, you're gonna ruin it. I mean, that's just all there is to it. It's gonna be ruined. Because, I mean, even games that you don't think it do have a very high skill ceiling. I mean, there
are a lot of games that can be played competitively. Most shooters, to be honest, that's kind of the goal behind.
Well, and here's the thing: is that
you want it to be played competitively.
Well, and here's the thing: is that it's talking about multiplayer games. It didn't just say shooters, so that makes me wonder, like, what kind of say that you get into a game that's not a fucking shooter. Then what are you gonna do?
Yeah,
what kind of shit is that? Yeah. Like, oh, well, you get better card draws.
That's the last thing we need, is all those guys screeching online about how the shuffler's rigged, actually being validated by something like this.
Yeah, that would be fantastic, wouldn't it? We'd love to hear that. But I was just reading that, and it's just like, it's so disgusting. It's so...
Of course. Leave it to Bungie, the same people that started using psychologists to make their game more buyable or addicting.
Which is absolutely insane. That is just... Ugh. Oh my god. I don't know. I think that some game companies just need to take a step back and think about what they're doing. Because a lot of them are just so out of touch. I feel like the gaming industry as a whole, for the most part, for all your AAA developers, all your console developers, all that shit, it's just they're so fucking out of touch. It is insane. Because the thing is that a lot of them don't even fucking play games. They're not in it for the games. They're not in it for the fun. They're in it to make money. I mean, we all know that, but it's still very... it's very frustrating for us, the consumers. So, and I feel like that's why, the indie devs are really taking off. I mean, you can pay $30 for a game and get these fucking hours upon hours of content, and it also all goes back to that. Did you get your time? Did you get your money's worth out of the time that you spent playing it? And there's a lot of indie games where, like, I just do. Like, it might not be the longest game, but I feel happy with it.
While you're playing it, it's great.
I'm perfectly fine with if I spent $30 on a game and say I only got 20 hours out of it, but I enjoyed it throughout the whole thing, then I still feel like I got my $30 worth. You know what I mean? I'm okay with that.
Yeah. No, I mean, I hear you, honestly, especially games that have good replay value as well.
Yeah.
Because you can get that 30 hours, turn it into 60, and then that 60 is still valuable, and you can have some good time with it.
The other thing... Oh, shit, sorry. Okay, the other thing, and this is just kind of off topic, I said that there wasn't a whole lot that happened in the gaming industry. Jesus Christ, go away.
What was that, a little fly or a moth?
Yeah, it was a little fucking fly up there, little bastard. I said there wasn't really anything big that happened, but there kind of was. And now that light's making it to where it's not focusing on my face. I love it so much. I mean, we'd be kind of remiss if we didn't talk about Oblivion, the remake. They call it a remaster. It's definitely not a remaster. They completely remade the game on a brand new engine.
I mean, they're calling it remastered.
And here's the thing, is that pretty much the only thing they remade was the graphics, but the game looks so fucking good. Like, I will give it to them. We've had this conversation in the Discord. Yes, there are games that probably should have gotten it before Oblivion, but I mean, I gotta give props to Bethesda. It is a gorgeous looking game. It looks good.
Don't say Bethesda. It was Virtuos too.
Was it Virtuos?
Yeah, it was co-developed.
I thought it was Bethesda.
No, I mean not. Maybe it was co-developed.
Okay.
Virtuous.
Okay. Well,
Their
either
Paris
way,
studio, I guess. Virtuous's Paris studio and Bethesda.
both of them, the game looks amazing. Um, all the dupes and glitches and shit like that are still in the game because people were wanting them, and I mean honestly, that's what made Oblivion as fun as it did a lot of the times is the glitches. Because
Yeah.
I mean, for the time, the game was so big. But the reason I bring this up is because I saw an article earlier today where Bethesda actually gave Skyblivion, all the modder devs, free keys
I
to
saw this.
Oblivion, and they
Yep.
were talking about how they are not willing, or they're not in anytime soon going to
Yeah. At
shut
any
down.
point, trying to try and stop them or
And I was
something,
like,
right?
that's awesome. Like, I'm super glad for that because I mean the guys at Skyblivion have put so much work into what they've been doing, and for Bethesda to just be like,
Right.
yeah, I mean, you guys have put in a lot of work. We're cool with that. And I mean, at the end of the day, this comes back to it. The only people that win in this situation really is the consumers. I mean,
Yeah.
we get two great games because from everything I've seen and all the reviews I've seen, the Oblivion remaster, remake, whatever, is doing amazing. And like I said, I feel like it looks amazing. I know that I would have rather seen like Morrowind get one. We've discussed that, but
Yeah.
I
Would've.
mean,
And that's the thing is I'm not trying to say that my preferences are supreme or anything like that.
no,
I'm well aware there's a lot more people that wanted this game remastered than wanted Morrowind remastered. So I'm aware my opinion's in the minority here, but I would have liked Morrowind remastered or Daggerfall remastered,
well,
something like
and see, I feel like the reason why Oblivion was the popular choice is because, you know, a lot of people around our age, we really got into the Elder Scrolls around Oblivion. Like, I know that there were games well before Oblivion, but I feel like that was the first one that the millennials, I guess, really got to get their hands on, and with all the glitches and the console commands and that massive open world, I mean, it was just there's so
that.
much
Right.
nostalgia there that I mean, it makes sense why people want that, but I feel like you know, I have Morrowind on Steam, and I've tried to play it, and it's just, I'm telling you, dude, that the beginning
It's
of the
rough.
game is so fucking rough.
Yeah.
And
It's that's why. I mean, that's why I wanted it
if they wanted
remastered,
to
dude.
remaster, remake a game, it would 100%. I feel like
Yeah, or
Morrowind would be
Daggerfall.
amazing. If they would have redone it, reworked the mechanics and everything, it would have been fucking great. So
The thing is I know what it is. Is honestly, it's because it was less work. Oblivion was a more modern game. A lot more of the game mechanics translate more well into the modern era and stuff. I mean, it was the first microtransaction Bethesda game. Of course, they're gonna remake it.
right, yeah, yeah,
But either way, though, especially though with Morrowind, I would have loved to see Morrowind because that's one of those places that I've seen. What was it, Skywind or Sky? I think that the mod where they're making Morrowind and the Skyrim engine,
hmm
and it's like, man, that's what I wanted to see. Like, that would have been so cool to have like actually done. You know, even if it was not, you know, because once again, the direction that they went with like how far into the fidelity and the shininess and they wanted to make Oblivion look like a modern day game. It wasn't like they're like, oh hey, it looks better, you know, kind of like the direction that the Mass Effect Legendary Edition went,
yeah,
where they're like, oh hey, everything looks better and it plays a little better and but it's basically the same thing. And so that right there, that's a remaster where they went through, they polished up a few things, made sure it was going to work on these modern systems, and then packaged it all up and shipped it out.
yep,
Whereas I have to agree, this is a remake in that they went way in depth. They took and completely changed the whole engine it was on, in Unreal 5 and the Gamebryo engine.
yep.
And so I think in doing so that this should be called a remake. And if they had called it a remake, it may have been maybe negatively seen by the community, but it's still more accurate to call it that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with that. Um, But yeah, those are just two little topics that I seen come up, and I thought that they would be pretty interesting to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what's funny is, in this vein, my little brain teaser for today is what other games do we think deserve remakes, remakes or remasters, would depending. But I'll start it out just to give you kind of a chance to think. But I'm gonna say Dragon Age Origins. And the reason I say that is because this is one of those games that, especially because it's like we're talking that came out around the same time as Oblivion, maybe a little after. I'm not actually sure off the top of my head,
Mm-hmm.
but I would really like to see it done.Maybe not by BioWare, but somebody a little bit more competent or somebody that I have a little
Mm-hmm.
more faith in nowadays to do it because man, that's one of those games that it would play kind of like Baldur's Gate 3, I think. It would
Yep.
play a lot more strategically and I always loved that in Dragon Age Origins you could play one way or the other. You could play just like a normal action RPG or kinda.
Or you could
My
do
buddy
turn-based essentially. It
yeah,
wasn't
right, that's
turn-based,
how
but
I
it was
played
it
it
was the
with my
tactical
mage
pause.
basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. You could slowly let time elapse and stuff as you would, freeze and pause and unpause time and
Yep.
stuff. So I think that would be a really cool game to get a remake in. I'm not even sure what engine or whatever, but just updated because I've gone through a couple times recently, and that game does not hold up. It just doesn't.
It
It's not, like I went through very recently and played through Oblivion, and that game it actually holds up.
it does.
Just the original Oblivion, and it's ah, upsetting to me that that's the one that we got remastered. The one that I'm at least perfectly fine going back through and playing back and enjoying my time in Cyrodiil,
Yep.
as opposed to Morrowind that we've all agreed is very rough, or
Yep.
or even something along the lines of like Dragon Age Origins going a different direction.
See, I would absolutely love to see Dragon Age Origins get back in there. Have somebody remake or a remaster or whatever the hell you want to call it. It doesn't matter. I would love to see it get some love because, like, I've been playing through it. I'm about halfway through a new playthrough,
Right.
and it kills me because I remember it in such a different light, graphically wise. Like, story wise, it still holds up perfect. Gameplay, it's still fun. It doesn't necessarily hold up to today's standards, but thinking about how old the game is, I still feel like I still feel like it was one of the best for its time, and I would love to see that updated. Um, and I feel like with the advancements that we've made since then, because I mean, this came out whenever the PS3 first released. This was a launch title,
It was early.
and I would love to see the things that we could that they could do with it now. And I'm sure that the game would just look absolutely gorgeous on top of that. Um if I had to choose a game to be remastered,
No, Dragon Age Origins initial release 2009.
wasn't that a
Yep,
launch
November
title?
3rd, 2009. Nope.
I thought it was. When did the PS3 release?
It was like 2007, I think.
Was it? No, maybe 2008.
2006. Yeah.
Holy
November
shit. I
11,
thought that it
2006.
was.
The PS3 originally, yeah.
What was
What,
I
19
thinking
years
of
ago?
then? Fucking hell, don't say that. That hurts my feelings.
It might have been like one of the various, editions of the PS3. I know there were quite a few.
I don't know. Either way, that is easily the other than like Borderlands, that is the game that I spent the most time in on PS or PlayStation 3.
Right.
Still love the game. I'm still playing through it. It doesn't hold up, but I still will keep it in my top 5 games of all time because I fucking love it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
it
I
is
hate what
great.
they did to my boy,
Which one?
Dragon Age Origins.
Oh, yeah.
And then
You mean
going
as
into
far as
Dragon
just
Age 2, and then Inquisition,
right?
and now Veilguard. I'm just not feeling it, man. Not happy with it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is Dragon Age Origins hasn't gone anywhere, right? Until they go
No.
and say, oh, hey guys, now this game that you bought a long time ago, you can't play it anymore.
I'll
Like
fucking
until they go and say
I'll tear it
that,
down.
it's still, it's still hasn't gone anywhere. And that's one thing, a lot of people, it frustrates me about discussing old games that have newer copies, or not even newer copies, but like newer sequels that maybe people didn't really like, is that it's like, well, the old game didn't go anywhere. You can still go back and play it. It's still there. Granted, it hasn't been updated to be modern and stuff like that, but short of there being, something like one of the distributors shutting down and preventing you from being able to play the game that you own, or you download it or whatever, I mean, the game's still there.
Yeah. Um, I was gonna say a different game, but I actually just thought of one. I would love to see a complete remake of Legend of Dragoon for PS1.
Ooh, yeah.
I would
Yeah,
absolutely love that because, like, I never played all the way through it, but I have, like, core memories of playing that on PS1 and absolutely fucking loving it. And I'm already a
Right.
fan of JRPGs and RPGs in general. So, like, for that to get remade would be absolutely amazing. And mind you, it's on PlayStation. It's on the PlayStation Plus. I can go play it, but I want to see a complete remake. Today's graphics, I want to see new things implemented to it because I mean, all we could do is make the gameplay better. You already have the story, and
Right.
from everything that I remember and everybody I've talked to, the story is amazing. It's just so rough to actually play the game because PS1 just was not it for a lot of games. They just hadn't figured it out yet. I hate to say, but they just
Yeah.
didn't.
It was still a lot of experimentation because depending if it was and DualShock supported and stuff,
Yeah.
they hadn't really figured out what controls should be where yet and what those sticks should do because
Yep.
those newfangled things ain't gonna replace my plus.
What
I
about
don't
my
know.
joystick for the fighting console? I need that.
Yeah, right.
um, I don't know. How do you feel? Do you feel like remakes and remasters? Um, do you feel like they're good for the game industry, or do you feel like they're kind of lazy? I don't
I was
know. Not
thinking about
necessarily
this
lazy,
actually.
but like, do you feel like it's kind of a cheap thing for game developers to pass off just so that way they can make more
It's a
money?
safe bet.
Yeah.
It's a safe bet. That's why Bethesda kind of has been working on this because they know that they're going to need this to kind of help shore up a lot of maybe mistakes made later on or yet to come or something or
Or
in
mistakes
this
that they've
most
already
previous
made to
game.
kind of gain
Right,
favor.
right. And so they're trying to get, I think, a little bit of goodwill garnered
Well,
ahead of time.
here's my problem with it is that um, I'm okay with Oblivion being remade. I'm okay with it being a remaster, remake, whatever they want to call it. I don't care. But Bethesda is very quickly becoming the remake studio. Like they
Mm.
remake and remaster game, specifically one game.
Re-release.
Yeah, there you go. Um, so many times, and I'm tired of it with Bethesda. Like I'm surprised I haven't seen the new Starfield edition, or fucking I'm surprised they
Yeah,
haven't
right.
already been like, okay, I know we just remastered or re-released whatever Oblivion. We're gonna do that again. We had our shadow launch or shadow drop. Now we're gonna launch this bitch. Now you have to pay me another $40 because the 50 just wasn't enough.
Yeah, I mean, one, I think a lot of it has to do with they're aware of what their player base is willing to spend, especially for a game as sought after as the Oblivion remaster. That's what they call it. Of course, it's a remake. It seems like, but there's a lot of desire to play this game remastered. There's also a lot of desire to play Fallout 3 remastered. There's also a lot of desire to play Morrowind and further back like that remastered. And so they've got a lot that they can fall back to if Elder Scrolls 6
Well,
falls in the toilet.
and Bethesda isn't the only one that does it. Look at Game Freak, and mind you, Game Freak I feel is more justified for doing it because a lot of the games that they remake are for 8-bit pixelated console or 8-bit handheld games like Game Boy games. They're remastering the Pokemon games for a lot of them or remaking whatever you want to call it. with newer graphics, which I don't have a problem with. But I also feel like whenever it comes to Game Freak and Pokemon, it's very, very clear that Pokemon is running out of ideas. Game Freak is running out of ideas to, or scenarios, or stories, or whatever. So then that leads me to question when is the last Pokemon game that we're gonna get? Like, because I feel like we're getting close to it. I feel like at this point, you can.
I think that that we're kind of reaching a point of like what is it, singularity, where they're like form inward on themselves and they go back and start cannibalizing and they do something like fusions. That's one thing I had seen it. They're going to go some sort of a direction where they're able to take this existing body of well-known, well-recognized little mascots, little money printing mascots, and they're going to say, okay, well, now here you go. Now that nobody wants these new ones that we're making because there's nothing left to make, or anything compelling left, because we've all noticed that every new generation releases fewer and fewer decent Pokemon, and so because of
Keyword
that,
decent.
yeah, well, dude, there was more new Pokemon in Paldea than there was in Galar, I think.
Yeah, but the problem
So I
is,
mean,
there's a lot of Pokemon that they
right.
release that are just trash. They're just that's such a lazy,
There are,
boring ass idea. Like, step
but
it up.
but the thing is, though, is after a certain point, once they really feel like, okay, we've really exhausted, we've gotten every evolution, we've added a new type that we had to take out because everybody hated it, and we're doing this, and obviously that hasn't happened yet, but they've got a lot of creativity, but they release a lot of games, and they've got a lot of parallel storylines and stuff going at the same time, that they've got to have new Pokemon for each of those. So you've got like
Yeah.
the Legends series that they're releasing new Pokemon forms. So this is the France form, this is the back in time Japan form, stuff like that. And then you've got the mainline series here, and they're going through, and it's like, all right, here's our big main Pokemon dump, and then you've got the other side over here. And the thing is the whole running out of ideas, that is a perspective based thing, because you see stuff like Power World, you see stuff like a lot of fan Pokemon ideas and things like that. There's ideas to be had. It's just, how you going to get them? Are you going to take the fan idea, or are you just going
Well,
to,
see,
you
and that's the
know,
thing, is that they're not willing to take the fan idea. And
right?
did you see the article a while back where one of the developers were like, "Yeah, we were tossing around the idea of adding a new evolution, but the one that we were wanting had so much fan art around it that
I did hear that.
anything we want to
They were going to
do,
have
it
it
wouldn't have
released in what?
mattered." Yeah.
They were going to have it released in like what, Gen 7 or something?
Yeah, and they were like, we couldn't do it because it wouldn't matter, because
Yep.
it would look like we're stealing from a fan. Because there are just an absolute metric fuck ton of evolution, or
Yeah.
Fakemon. So I mean, I get that, and it sucks, but at the same time, it's like, okay, then just buy it from the person who made it. Like, I don't think you understand that we as consumers do not give a fuck. We want an evolution. If that means that you have to
Right.
go to a fan and be like, hey, I'll give you X amount of money for the copyrights to this piece of art that you did, then fucking do it. Who cares? Why does it matter? Like, just because you didn't make it and a fan did, why is that such a big deal to you? If it's a cool design, if it looks good, if it fits, then yeah, do it.
Yeah, but I think then if the second they do that, it sets a precedent. Okay, then it's like this land grab. They go and they start creating and copywriting and trademarking every single possible
I
design that
mean,
could
that's
be even
true.
closely associated with the Pokemon, and they sit on it. It's kind of like the people who do the
I mean,
websites.
that's
They go and
true.
they buy out all these domain names ahead of time whenever a movie's announced or something, or even whenever they like get insider info about a movie
Here's
release or something. They'll go and buy the website for it to then sell it to the movie studio whenever they come looking.
here's my thing. If they stop making mainline Pokemon games, I would probably be okay with it. If they went through and did more legend stuff, and I would if they did more legend stuff, um, I feel like, you know, we talked about this. I think it was either episode 3 or maybe 2. Um, where, you know, the legends things are more of stories of what happens like before or after, in between, whatever, it doesn't matter. um, I feel like that would be cool to keep that going, because I mean there's so many possibilities on that you could explore. There's so many different areas that
Yeah.
you could go into, which does make it very cool. There's and you don't really necessarily have to make new Pokemon. I mean, really, all you would need to do
Yeah,
is make new
regional
forms,
variants, right?
and
And
that's
that's the
fine.
direction, and fusions, and a lot of like past forms or future forms. You know, like they did with like the Paradox Pokemon and stuff like that. I think they're already kind of stepping in that direction because they want to save a lot of like new Pokemon designs so they can sprinkle it out throughout the various things.
Yep.
And so I think a lot of it is the mainline games. I think especially like what we're already seeing. I remember what 6, 8, 10 months ago, almost a year. There was this one like article that this guy had said that there was no news, no Pokemon news for all of 2024, and people were like, "What? Like this is the year you should be announcing the next mainline game?" And they're like, "Yeah, we're not."
Yeah.
And people are like, "What? What?"
Is this the end, or is it done? Are we over?
Yeah, well, no, right. Oh God, is Pokemon gone for good? Yeah. So anyway,
Oh
though,
man.
I think that's them saying, okay, look, we need to extend our dev cycles. We need to take and, you know, kind of expand the
Which,
amount of time that our main team has, which is
and
great. Like
look,
that's
yeah,
what
like
everybody's been asking them
if
to
they're
do.
going to continue to make mainline Pokemon games, then you need to actually have a good story. You need to figure out what is going to make this one unique from the last 9 that you've had that have been cookie cutter, the copy and paste
Right.
the games. Like that's what they've been. And mind you, a lot of that is people's childhood, which is why honestly I feel like that's the reason why they were able to get away with it for so long, is because now the
Well, I
people
mean,
that grew up with the games are more adult. I mean, yes, it's aimed towards children, but people like me and you still play these games
yeah,
because,
it's the
like, for me,
nostalgia.
it's a childhood thing. I've played them. I've
Yeah.
played every game since it's came out, and now it's like I don't really necessarily get excited whenever I hear, "Oh, new Pokemon game," because I mean I know what I'm gonna get. Like, am I gonna play it?
Right.
Probably. But do I know what I'm gonna get? Yes. Like, I know what I'm spending my money on. And I'd like for you to extend your dev cycles, figure out how to make the game legitimately unique, and execute that. And if that means, and this is what I said last time, if that means that you use the Legends series as like a tester to figure out what you are and aren't going to do, or what does and doesn't work, I'm okay with that, to be honest, because the Legends series is already trying something new. The Legends series was the first one that had a technical open map, open world type thing. I mean, yeah, Sword and Shield did it, but did they really? I mean, it was just a couple zones. It wasn't anything like super special. Whereas then you had like multiple unique little maps for Legends Arceus, and then you come out with the next game, and it has a 100% fully open world. You can complete things in any order as long as you're able to actually
Mm-hmm.
do it, which I thought was great. A lot of
Yeah,
people
I
hated
liked it.
it, but I enjoyed it. It gave the world, and each Pokemon having like their own different region kind of gave it that little bit of extra flavor that I was perfectly fine with. I mean, I just wish that they would do what they're doing now, which is taking the time, making sure that whatever you're making is a quality game, and you're gonna make money off of it. I mean, you're gonna make money off of it regardless, because there's people that'll throw money at you hand and foot just for the Pokemon name. But it's not my point. My point is just take your time and produce quality product. That's it.
Well, speaking of Pokemon, did you see the Pokemon Champions? This was I don't know, a couple months ago,
I did.
but the Pokemon Champions reveal.
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Well, anyway, the Pokemon Champions game is going to be on like your phone. It's going to be on Switch,
Yeah.
and you'll be able to play interchangeably between them. You can take the Pokemon that you get from your mainline games, or I'm assuming also Arceus games, but it's all linked through Pokemon Home. And you can take
Oh,
and play them on your phone or Switch or whatever, but battle them back and forth. They're
that's
supposed to be like
cool.
intergenerational evolution things. So you've got like Mega Evolution, fighting Dynamax, and then you've got that all fighting with like Terra. Actually, I don't know about the Mega Evolution. You've got Terra fighting Dynamax, I think, that you see in the promotional material. And so this is maybe the way that they go and they solve the fact that all their mainline games have to have a very easily accessible leveling environment because they don't want it competing in Pokemon their tournament to be too restrictive, time investment wise. They've kind of been the general trajectory of the Pokemon franchise in general has been making it a little bit more accessible
Hmm.
and easier to level and train your Pokemon the way that you want them to. So competitive's a bit more forgiving, we'll say.
Does that have like a release date or anything?
It doesn't. I
Mm.
just looked it up. It's to be determined. So I'm
So
thinking it'll be sometime this coming year, not this year.
here is something that has to do with that. Um, did you see that there was a leak, or there was a Terra leak, is what they called it? Um, and Nintendo subpoenaed Discord to track down the users behind the leak for the Pokemon Champions suit. And if they win, then that would mean that Discord would have to give the information of the people who leaked Pokemon Champions to Nintendo, and they would like obviously Nintendo is going to sue them for it.
Oh,
Um,
what leaked from it? Like what
let's
was
see. So I'm gonna
because they
read.
already released the trailer themselves,
I'm
like
gonna I'm gonna
Pokemon.
read this real quick, and let me see. This is from April 21st.
Oh,
So
okay. So
let's
this
see.
year, just very recently.
Yeah, according to the court documents seen reported by Polygon, Nintendo is requesting the court orders Discord to provide the name, address, phone number, and email address of a Discord user known as Game Freak Out. Last October, Game Freak Out is alleged to have posted content including copyright protected artwork, characters, source code, and other materials related to Pokemon to a Discord server called Freak League, after which they were distributed widely across the internet. Though not confirmed, the materials were likely obtained in a data breach back in August that Game Freak disclosed the following October. Per Game Freak, the data breach included 2,606 cases of current, former, and contract employee names being accessed. Oddly leaked files began appearing online October 12th, and Game Freak's statement appeared online the following day, backdated to October 10th, and does not mention confidentiality company materials beyond employee information. So actually, it was more than just that. It was,
Hmm.
hold on.
Interesting.
Oh, the leaked materials included numerous unannounced projects, as well as cut content and other background information and early builds of other Pokemon games. Notably, the leak unveiled Pokemon Champions, an upcoming battle-focused Pokemon game prior to the game's official announcement in February. It also
Oh, I
contained
see.
information about the upcoming Pokemon Legends ZA that
So,
has since been proven correct, alongside yet to be
mm-hmm.
proven information on the next generation of Pokemon, source code for various DS Pokemon titles, meeting summaries, and cut lore from Pokemon Legends Arceus and other games. So they got
Wow.
a lot. And if Nintendo or Game Freak gets a hold of them, it's game over for them. Period. I mean, they are
Mm.
going to absolutely hammer them. But I remember I
Oh
was
yeah,
going through
jeez.
looking for topics for the podcast, and I was like, oh God. Like, I didn't think that it would come up, but like, since it did, I was like, that's a thing.
Yeah, I remember something about that.
But,
Oh boy.
yeah, the man, mm, I feel bad for the guy or people, whoever. I don't feel bad for him at all. Because if you're going to be like taking employee information and stuff like that and then posting it on a
Right.
server, I mean, you kind of get what you deserve. If it's game
That goes a
related
whole lot
shit,
beyond like hype
yeah,
leaking and
yeah. I mean,
like trying to get
if
clicks and
it's
stuff.
just specifically game related stuff, whatever, sure. I mean, you're still probably gonna get your shit kicked in, but sure. But whenever you go into like people's personal information and start doxing people, there's a big fucking problem with that. Like a huge problem. So
Yeah.
definitely not okay and not all right with
No.
that. Um, so let's see here. Um, do you have anything else to add to that, by the way, before I change
Uh,
subject?
not particularly.
Okay.
No.
So, the game that I was talking about that I'm super excited for being out is Clear Obscura Expedition 33. I don't know if you've seen anything on it, but man,
No, no, no. Actually, I've seen a little bit. I've seen a lot of people were actually impressed with
oh
it. So.
man, the game is absolutely gorgeous. So this game has some of the highest um, critic ratings and player ratings. Metacritic rated it at like a 94, and player ratings are at like a 90, I think a 90, 92, something like that. I mean, like it has some of the highest ratings that we've seen in a long time. Um, I do plan on getting it at some point, but the game itself, I was watching a streamer last night. The game is just gorgeous, man. The mechanics are awesome. The only complaint that I really heard from anybody is that like the jumping mechanic seems a little bit clunky, um, but gameplay wise, dude, it looks fucking amazing. And like we've already discussed, me being an RPG fan, I am 100% down for good RPGs. Um,
Yeah,
I know that
of
this
course.
isn't really something that we can have a full topic about because I haven't played it, and
I barely even heard about it.
but it's something I did want to bring up because it does look good, and it is something that I would
Yeah.
suggest looking into because it's looking like it's going to be a heavy game of the year contender. So
Yeah.
definitely something to look
What
out for
kind
there.
of like turn-based
Yeah,
RPG kind of?
so
Yeah.
it's turn based, but then like there's perfect counters and stuff you can do, which give like quick time events to an
Oh, okay.
extent. But also whenever you attack, it'll pop up with like press X button, and then it'll give you a little bar that on. So it's hard to explain, but like, so the X button will be inside of a diamond, and then you'll have a little bar that'll start traveling along the diamond, and whenever it hits
You just kind of have to
the
follow it.
highlighted bar, well, whenever it hits the highlighted bar, you have to hit the button, and then it gives you. You can get like a perfect attack, which
Okay.
does more damage. It's essentially a critical. But there's like perfect pairing where you can completely avoid damage and counter. I don't know, man. Like everything I've seen, it just looks super good, and I am
Yeah.
very impressed with what I've seen so far. So I
I
hope to
haven't
see
seen a
more.
bad thing about it. I've
Yeah,
seen everything I've seen about it has been excellent.
yeah. Let me see here. I can actually. No, I don't have it pulled up anymore. Damn. I thought that I still had the thing open, but I did not. But I don't remember. Did you have another topic?
Yeah. Yeah, I've
Okay.
got another piece of news here. So I know we were talking last week about how well we thought the Switch was going to do and how interested the overall audience would be, how much appetite there would be for it, considering the
Yeah.
price point and for the games and stuff like that.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
well, literally within a couple hours, I think it was within a few hours that I was seeing stuff, all kinds of people talking about how it was literally everywhere, sold out at GameStop, at Best Buy, at Walmart. I think Walmart, maybe it was Amazon, some stuff. But yeah, just everywhere that was doing Switch pre-orders, it just sold out.
I know it would be.
So
Um,
at this point, if I do wind up getting it, it's going to be through the My Nintendo store, through the having an account on Switch for as long as I have and stuff. It wouldn't be going through one of these places or
well,
buying a scalper.
I mean, look, like I said, um, it absolutely does not surprise me in the slightest that it's sold out because again, it's Nintendo and they know that they can do whatever they want and people are still gonna buy it because
I mean, you see it, man, and it just keeps. I mean, honestly, if it was a lot more available, then I would have a lot harder of a decision. But if it was something that it's like, yeah, you literally can't get this unless you get this little, essentially a golden ticket in your email box, I think I may end up getting it, if for no other reason than there's going to be a lot of demand for that item. Now, whether or not I would ever resell it, that's all beside the point. I don't think I would. But I do think it would be interesting to have that, because that much demand on a console drives so many developers to create games for it, and it also drives open markets to, the price will, depending, if there's a lot of supply, which may or may not be shutting off soon, then the price will stay down. But if this is the
See,
first wave of Nintendo Switches you can get, and it turns out to be the only wave of Nintendo Switch 2s you can get, then it may be a good thing to have one.
well, I don't have any plans on buying one, for multiple different reasons, but the main one being, I'm not a Super Nintendo fanboy. Really, the only thing that I play on Nintendo is Pokemon, and again, it also comes down to a Pokemon game is not worth me spending $90 on or $80 on. So for me, it's just one of those things that I would have to pass, because like I have games on my Switch, and
Right.
besides Pokemon, I play Bravely Default, and everything else that I play on Nintendo Switch, I can play on my PS5. And I don't really take consoles with me anywhere because I don't ever go anywhere that I have time to really sit down and play. And also, I've noticed over the past couple
Traveling on
years.
public transit is one thing
Yeah,
too. Public transit is
and I don't have
very
that.
common.
But one thing I will say is that I find it very hard that even whenever I do take it, because like I've taken it to hospitals and stuff like that, it's very hard for me to focus on the game when there's so much going on around me. And I don't know if that's my ADHD or what it is, but it's like I can't get into the game whenever something's happening. Um,
Hmm.
and I don't. I'm also one of those people that like when I'm out in public, I like to be extremely aware of my surroundings. Um, Especially having kids, it's just something that's kind of developed where I'm like just hyper focused on what's going on around at all times. Um, and I just can't game out in public. I can't do it. At home, I
Hmm.
can sit there and I can like zone in and I'm there. But out in public, it's just not for
Well, I
me.
mean, there is a difference. There is light gaming, and then like what you do on like a mobile phone or a small game like that,
Right.
and then there's the deep, in depth, trying to delve a dungeon and remember which rooms you've already been in and where
Right.
you've gone and what traps are where and which ones you've avoided, and I get that. And to each their own too. I'm not going to yuck anyone's yum or yum anyone else's yuck at them, that kind of thing. But ultimately, there is a lot of demand for the Switch 2 in the first place,
Yeah.
and there may or may not be enough supply to keep up with it. So if I don't get this golden ticket in my mailbox, my email mailbox, then I'm very likely not going to get it. I'm just going to get a maybe a graphics card, $450 graphics card that I could get that would be a good price. It
Comparable.
would probably give me a little bit more joy to begin with, because then I could use all my existing PC library games to play it.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. Um, and I mean, like that's the thing is that like I'm not gonna knock anybody that does
Oh
get
my
it.
god. But I've been looking at the graphics card market too, and it is awful.
It's electronics
It's
everywhere,
just
man. Just
so
trash.
bad, man.
Yeah.
Oh,
Um, and that's what I'm saying. It's like I'm not gonna knock anybody that gets it. If you want to get it, you're probably somebody. Well, I know for a fact that you play more Nintendo games than I do because you like Metroid and you play
oh yeah, I
Pokemon
like the
and
Xenoblade, the
Xenoblade and all that.
Legend
So
of
like
Zelda. Yeah, I've
for
been a big
you,
Nintendo fan for a lot of my life.
yeah. So for you, I mean, it makes more sense than it does for me. Whereas mainly, like honestly, and I'm dead ass serious, my main selling point for Nintendo is Pokemon. That's really it. Like I grew up with
Right.
Nintendo, but I grew up with playing Pokemon. And I never really got into Nintendo games. Like I remember playing like so past the
Well,
64. I'll say I
growing
never
up
really
with
got into it.
Nintendo, Well, right. Growing up with Nintendo means more than just having a Game Boy. I mean, because for a long time, having a Game Boy, that was the only option for playing games on the go. And so most people, a lot of people back in the day could justify a Game Boy just to play Pokemon because you knew that
Yeah.
that's where the Pokemon's home was going to be. And so even if you didn't like any other Nintendo property, no Zelda, there was really never a mainline like serious Zelda release on much of their handhelds, not until like the later stages of the DS. The 3DS, I think.
I
Oh,
think the
no,
only
it was no, because
Zelda
there's like the
game I
whole
played was
like
Wind
Phantom
Waker.
Hourglass and there was like the whole Phantom Hourglass and the Spirit
I remember
Tracks
those.
arc
I
and
remember the
stuff like
Minish
that,
Cap and stuff like that. But I think like the only game that I ever played that was Zelda on Game Boy was Wind Waker.
which
Was it
wasn't
Wind
on
Waker?
Game Boy.
Which
That's on
one was
GameCube.
it? God damn it! I gotta remember what it's called now. Um,
What, Four Swords?
no, I played Four Swords though.
Yeah,
I'm
well, that's a
trying to
Zelda game.
think. Ugh, I don't remember. I remember it was on a Game Boy cartridge. I thought.
I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, but it wasn't Wind Waker though, because that's a GameCube game.
Let's see here. Oh, maybe it was Link's Awakening. That might have been it, actually, now that I think about it.
Hmm.
Why was I thinking it was something else then? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Huh.
I don't know, but even
Oh,
like Mario, you would get the original Mario games, but as far as like the 3D, you'd never get that until like the original DS, which was that
yeah.
was nuts in of itself. I've seen like a video talking about the sacrifices that had to be made to get Super Mario 64 running the original model Nintendo DS.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing is, I mean, like I said, it's just, it's one of those things of I'm not interested in Nintendo games, so for me, spending
Yeah,
$500 and then
right. Well,
$80, just not for me, man.
and I think a lot of it is that a lot of the other games that if I do wind up getting a Switch 2, that I'll end up playing on that Switch 2, are games that I've either had from my existing Switch library, which we've already discussed. I've have a lot more invested into my original Switch library already. So it makes a lot more sense in my scenario, not even factoring the fact that it's the lowest power draw console and I'm off grid, so that is a big factor for me too. Getting a Switch being that it's such a low electricity required
Yeah,
device.
for sure.
So,
Yeah, and I feel that too. That does make sense.
but I'm not going to
Um,
go way out of my way. I'm not going to pay scalper prices or any of that craziness to try and get one. I'll
yeah, no,
just
fuck
I'll,
that.
I'll just bow out. All right, I'll wait till you guys have a refresh or decide to go to a smaller architecture, 5 nanometer process or whatever.
Yeah, I hear you. So I have one more topic.
All right.
So I haven't been getting. I'm starting to catch up on my backlog of anime. Like I just started Fire Force last night, um, which so far I'm absolutely loving. It's great. Oh no, did I seriously
Can't say
do
I've
that?
ever seen that.
Fire Force is great. It has like it reminds me a lot of Soul Eater. I don't know if you ever watched that with the Reapers and all
Mm,
that. They have to eat like
can't say that I
a
have.
thousand soul or 100 souls, and they get to become one of the Grim Reaper sites. I don't know. It's
Okay.
good. It's older. It really is. It's an older style. It's
It
not.
sounds familiar.
Yeah. So solo leveling just finished season 2,
Okay,
and
gotcha.
it was absolutely amazing. Right now, it is probably my favorite anime that's going. It has been absolutely spectacular from beginning to now. Um, and a lot of people were really worried because it didn't seem like we were going to get a season 3. Um,
Or did it just get renewed?
well, so we're not 100% sure. So we got a tweet on April 25th, so yesterday, from the creator of Solo Leveling, And it's so like previously he was talking about. Well, actually, I'll just read this first. So it says, "Grateful, happy news coming. Solo leveling at Crunchyroll." But originally, what his
I hate Crunchyroll.
I do too, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Anyway.
So originally, a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago, whenever the series ended, this is the tweet that we got, and it had a lot of people really upset. It says, "I hope the next time you watch the anime, you'll imagine all the creators and staff who worked on it behind the scenes. With episode 25, the anime series Solo Leveling will come to an end for now. Will this end be temporary or not? I honestly don't know what the future will bring. With the encouragement and support of everyone watching, it may continue or it may not continue. Personally, I really hope it does." So a lot of people were really upset because we didn't think we were going to get a season 3. Now, with him just sending that tweet yesterday about potentially the good news about it, I'm hoping that we have news of a season 3. Because I've read the manga as well, because I just couldn't wait. Like, I needed to know what happened, so I went and read the manga. And honestly, and so like, it builds up to a lot of things, and we got to see one of the major fights at the end of season 2. But season 3 is where you get all these fights that they built up so much, and all this story that they've built up. And if we don't get it, I'm going to be so sad, because like the animation for Solo Leveling is just absolutely amazing. The voice acting is great, whether you watch or sub or dub. I prefer dub, to be completely honest. A lot of people do. And then a lot of people prefer sub.
I can't say I've honestly seen it.
Dude,
so I'm
I'm
not sure
telling
which
you,
I would prefer.
I would 100% recommend Solo Leveling. It is amazing. And one thing I want to talk about too is, I've noticed how anime now is taking a more graphic approach. I've noticed anime has gotten far more graphic, where they're not scared to show blood and gore and things that 5-10 years ago you wouldn't have seen. I mean, it's just something that
because
really...
it doesn't have to go to TV now.
Yeah.
It can be shown on these streaming sites, and it doesn't have to be given ratings for TV, basically.
Here's my
example. At least not for America.
Here's my example, and if I remember correctly, you're not a fan, but Bleach. So with Bleach, there are a couple scenes, like one for instance is, there's a scene where Rangiku gets her whole fucking side and rib cage ripped out, and this is before that was in the manga, that like it showed like her intestines and all sorts of stuff hanging. Well, in the anime, it was just like a circle cut on her side, and then it was just black, so that way there was no like blood or gore or anything like that.
Oh jeez.
So now we're in 1,000-Year Blood War, and I'm gonna tell you what, dude, it is like, I never thought that it would be as gory as it is, but like they show stuff and do stuff that it's like, this is not Bleach. This is not Bleach.
Right.
But they've also increased the pace of it too, because now it's very fast paced. It's constantly moving. There's not filler. It is go from the beginning, because they're not trying to what they're doing is they literally, now anime is just writing the whole series, animating it, voice acting it, and then all they have to do is just release it weekly. Because a lot of anime are going to like 13 episodes a season, which is a lot easier to mass compile that than a 254 episode
arc.
So
One Piece, Gintama.
Oh my god, dude, I want to watch One Piece so bad, because like I
I
see all these clips of where it's getting so good, and then
how do you know? How do you know that it's a payoff? How do you know that any of what you're seeing is worth seeing?
It's animation style, and it just looks good, and I'm a sucker for it. And it's like, everybody tells me, they're like, oh, once you get to X point, it's like, but I don't want to wait until then. Like,
No,
I just want the good
I'm
shit.
real happy with the anime that I decided to watch.
Oh man,
Free Run. That's probably the most
I
recent
need to
one that I've
watch
seen that I
Freerin.
really. It
I've
was so good,
I've
so
heard
good.
a lot about Freerin. Um, I don't know. I need to watch it. I need to just commit and sit
Yeah,
down
it's
and watch
excellent.
it because but like I said, I'm watching my
I mean,
backlog
hell,
right
you could get
now.
it. You could get it and stream it to me and buddies or something through Discord, and because you've got Crunchyroll, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah, just do
Yeah,
that.
100%. Dude, that's something that we could do. We could get does Kylan watch anime?
Yeah, some.
Huh. Well, maybe we could get like a watch party type thing going.
I I I know he does. He watches some. I don't know how much beyond
Right.
that.
Well, even still me, you, Badger. I mean, we could.
Hmm.
I'm sure we could do like a little watch party type
Kraken
thing.
even. I think most people, honestly, most people in our Discord do.
Yeah. So I mean, that might be something cool that we could do if we just don't decide on a game or just like nah, I'm just not feeling it tonight. We could just be like fuck, let's just watch some anime or fucking whatever, a movie, something. I don't fucking
Right,
know.
right.
Just hang out. Um, but I don't know.
Whoever has the best internet, host it.
Yeah, I am. I am very excited with the direction the anime has been going because I remember, I don't know, probably it's like 2-3 years ago. I had watched all this anime, and it was like those short little anime that like you just don't feel fulfilled at the end, you know. But like here recently,
Right.
it's really caught my attention with the quality that we've been getting, and I'm really surprised, and I'm really happy with it. Um, and I don't know, I'm excited to see where that goes. But
I've honestly heard from not just you, but several other people who I talk to that keep up on a lot more of the more recent anime and stuff
mhm.
installments. That anime is just recently, especially, has been really good. Like Free Run came out, I think last year, early
Yeah,
last year it came out,
that's what I'm saying.
and
And
it's
then
like
there's
that was
like
an excellent anime. Like
then
I've got to
there's
say, it was really good.
City of Ruin just came out, and City of Ruin was fucking insane, like
Hmm.
crazy good. And I know that this one isn't really necessarily new, but Akami ga Kill is one that
Yep.
that I actually fell in love with.
Subverts your expectations.
There's another anime that I have never felt as much emotion with this anime than I did with this one for the first 2 seasons. Rising of a Shield Hero. Um, the first season of that show absolutely fucking infuriated me. Not because it was bad, because of the stereotypes that you see and things that happen that actually do happen in real life, and it's fucked up. Like the way that certain men get portrayed because a woman said so, and it's very I
I
don't
don't
know.
know. It's just
It's very
interesting, I
frustrating.
guess.
Anyway, so essentially, spoilers. Um, there is. It's one of those I got teleported to a different world type things.
An isekai.
Yeah, it very much so is. But
Yeah.
so he gets teleported there with 3 other classmates. Each one of them has their own weapon.
Are they women? Are they
No,
women?
no, no.
No. Okay, it's not a
So
harem too.
So it kind of is a harem, but it's not.
Oh.
So it doesn't fall into a lot of the
Okay.
tropes of a
It
harem.
can be done in such a way where it's not a harem. It can have multiple female characters and it not be a harem. Honestly, like Steins Gate. There's a lot of other female characters,
I
but
would
I would not consider Steins Gate a harem anime.
So I wouldn't consider it a harem necessarily. Um, there's not really a whole lot of fan service that I can remember. It's also been a minute since I watched it, but I don't. It's definitely not heavy on the fan service. I will say that if there is any, it's definitely not heavy on it because I would have remembered that.
Few and far between.
But you have the spear hero, the sword hero, the bow hero, and the shield hero. All 4 are males. They go to this other world, defeat Demon Lord, blah blah blah. Well, they have a bunch of volunteer companions that they volunteer for who's or which hero they want to go with. Well, nobody wants to go with the shield hero because he doesn't have a weapon. He has a shield. Oh my god, he's the worst of them
Right.
all. How who would want to follow him?
But isn't he the one that would protect you, the follower? Like,
Well, hold on.
got a shield.
So anyway, one of the female whatevers volunteers is like, oh well, I'll go with the shield hero. He's still a hero. Blah blah blah. So they go out and like the king gives them each X amount of gold coins for them to outfit themselves with whatever. Well, he goes and they go out and get equipment, and he buys her stuff, and then they go out into the field and do some grinding, and then they come back to this hotel. This is all in episode 1. It's very, very boring in the beginning.
Okay, it's just very quick paced, I'm assuming.
It gets there. So then he gets woken up in the middle of the night. Guards rush into his room and drag him to jail. He has no clue what's going on. And then he gets taken to court the next morning, and the female follower is claiming that he sexually assaulted her, even though he never once touched her. He gets labeled as essentially a piece of shit and looked down on by the other 3 heroes. He gets treated like a dog by everybody. He's not allowed to come into the city and use like the vendors and all this other shit. It's fucking, it pissed me off so much. It made me so mad. But that's all I'll say about that. It does get really good.
Yeah, right.
Season 1 and 2. I haven't watched season 3, but I'm not gonna lie. Well, I take that back. I watched like 2 episodes, and season 3 just was really slow and just not for me. I just couldn't get into it. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, with a stellar premise like that, man. Whoa.
That's not what it's not what it's based on. It's just
it seems like that was like a grievance by the creator, and so he's kind of
dude, it like legitimately, I have never been so legitimately pissed off by an anime in my life. Like, for whatever reason, that was like the most I got so mad. Like, it just pulled out so much emotion. I was just like, you know what, go fuck yourself. Like, that is the only anime that I have ever legitimately turned off because I was about to rage. Like, I legitimately rage quit the anime.
Rage quit.
I don't understand how it happened.
Man, screw this anime.
It fucking happened, and it made me mad, and I'm not okay with it. Damn it. Oh yeah. Fuck. But you got anything else?
No. I was kind of light this time.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I mean,
main thing,
like
it was a quieter week. There was the Oblivion remaster. There was the Claire Obscura.
Very quiet.
The Switch pre-orders selling out. I mean, that's really most of the notable stuff.
I mean, we didn't talk about any Path of Exile, but nothing's really changed there.
No, I've just been working my way through Cruelty difficulty personally.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get through that shit so I can get into Cruelty. But...
Yeah, you still got a little ways.
Yeah, no, I just need to push through it. But I know this is going to be probably a shorter episode, but like Mouse said, there's just not a whole lot that really happened.
It's honestly, it's kind of a good week for there to be no guest, you know?
Yeah, because it's just kind of in a lull, really. Hopefully this next week we get some good release dates and stuff like that. There's a couple games that I'm keeping my eye on. The one thing I will say is that I've kind of been keeping up, and like I'm not like a super big fan of GTA, but they're still holding that GTA 6 is going to release this year. So,
I mean, it's been 10 years.
I
don't know, when did GTA 5 release? I can't honestly remember.
Well, let's see.
Here, all right, let me look.
I was gonna look it up too. Yeah.
Oh, 2013 for the PlayStation 3 and 2014 for the Xbox 360.
Years?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, I mean, if they're not going to be, I mean, and I know they've not just only been doing GTA 6, but still, you know, I mean, it's been a lot of time.
Rockstar's over there like, oh, you said that you wanted us to take our time with games, remember?
They're like, oh, you want GTA 6? Actually, it's going to be GTA 5 remastered.
Well, you get. We only release 5 games in your entire life cycle. Have fun.
Yeah, Rockstar's just like this immortal AI entity, this little robot. And it's like,
We know what the people
I have a
want.
master plan. Your great grandchildren will be able to witness it.
I am in the Matrix now. But
Yeah, I am the Matrix.
anyway, guys, I think that's going to be the end of this episode. I appreciate you guys stopping by and watching. I'll link Mouse's stuff over here in the bottom, like I always do. If there's anything you guys like to see us talk about or anything like that, let us know. And until then, we'll see you next time.
All right. See ya.